Hey guys, it's Summer with Grasshopper Luck, and this is the third and final part of this how to make a binder tutorial. Really simple. So before you actually put these on the book, go ahead and punch holes. Really not anything to it. You just want to kind of gauge somewhere in the middle of the binder. This chipboard portion of it, and just try to get it where you want it, because once the holes are punched, that's where it's going to be. So I'm just marking the holes with this, and then I'm actually just going to go back through and just widen them instead of using a hole punch. And the reason why is that when you use a hole punch, it tends to have a little too much wiggle room, and when you put your little brad in there to hold this hole punch together, you don't want there to be wiggle room. You want that sticky that I'm pulling off of this poke right here, you want that to kind of hold the brad in place a little bit. It's not going to be the only thing that holds it in place, but it is going to be the main thing that holds it in place. So all I'm doing right now is just poking poking into the paper right at that spot that I want that held at. And you can see it shows on the back. So that's why I said once you punk the holes, you better know that you've got them where you want them, because it's done. So okay, so now that the holes are punched, you're going to go ahead and move along, so you can put this aside. You're going to do that very last. And what you want to do here is just line this up, and you're really lining it up not with the paper but with the chipboard here. Okay, that's your measuring tool. When you line that up, then you want to scooch it out. You do not want this flush with the chipboard. It's really important, because if it's flush with the chipboard, when you try to close your notebook, there's nothing to give. There's absolutely no way for that notebook to close. So once you've got that lined up, then you don't want to leave it there. You don't want to tape it there. You want to then scooch it out. And usually what I do is push this up, go ahead and roll it a little bit, just enough so that you can know. So if you push this up and the book fits right in that little nook between the chipboard and the bottom of that, then that's where that should be. Okay, so push it up and then lay it back down, and you can see there is a little teeny tiny bit of room there, and that's where you want to tape your book. So I'm just going to make a teeny tiny little mark with my poker, and it's just little, but it gives me a good marker as to where to put the tape. And once I put the tape, then the tape is my marker for where best to put the book, the binding. So obviously you're going to be putting tape here at the very end. Just go ahead and start with that. Not a whole lot you can do to mess that part up. And then I think that this will still fit. So I'm just going to make sure I've got this where my little mark is, and just make sure you don't put tape any farther over. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that off, and I'm going to readjust, reline this up. Okay, I've got that lined up, and now I've got it lined up right with the tape. That tape, if it's not pushed down too far, it will kind of give you a good guider point. So once you've got that where the tape is going to be, then you can slowly lay that down. Let's see. Just take your time. It's not anything that you should be in a hurry about, for sure. Once you've got it laid down, you can't remove it. And okay, go. Just laying that where it needs to be. Okay, once it's laid down, it's laid down. So even if you mess up, there's not a lot you can do about it. So now that that's laid, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and kind of curl this around. And then make my mark. And then lay my tape. I'm just going to add a little up here and down at the bottom. Oops. Like that. Okay. Pull this off. Okay, so this tape kind of pushed up a little. That's okay. It's just tape. It'll lay pretty flat as long as it's not pushed up too badly. Okay, doing the same thing over here. And then you can kind of see down here at the bottom that there's some, and up at the top that there's some showing. But that's okay because I plan on this book to have a lining all the way around it, kind of like a border. So if you don't want to have a border on your book, it's probably a lot more important that you get it exactly right. In which case you've got to do just a lot of measuring. The basic idea is still the same, but a lot of times it's better just to plan ahead to do, you know, either I'm going to do ribbon I think on this one, but on other ones I've just used a different color of the same type of cardstock or embellishments or just something. It adds to the book and it makes it a little easier not to have to worry about how the binding is, and also because at the top you'll see it's not a very clean look regardless of if you put if you have the exact measurements or not. It's still not very clean cut. So just adding a little bit of a border or a little bit of ribbon